Backpack, ground pad, food, water, GoPros, Mavic, DSLR, dog. Could this actually be an adventure photography episode? Let's find out. Oh god. Planned this trip for yesterday when it was actually snowing, but been sick over the last few days this weekend and pretty much bedridden, so I slept all day yesterday instead, but it would have been the nicer day for it because it was pouring snow and kind of chilly, which is what I was actually looking to do. It had been a snowshoe instead of a slippery walk, but it's like 40 degrees today, super windy. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it probably once I get up on top of the ridgeline here, but it's out of fish trap with the dog. Gonna go hike back to Hog Lake, just hang out for a little while. Made it out to the lake. It's really slick. I brought my snowshoes hoping it would be snowy enough for that, but I think today with the temperatures it's definitely not. It's just this really wet, slick snow. Hindsight, should have brought my micro spikes, but for the usual I didn't, so oh well. Found a spot here on the lee side of Hog Lake, and I think we're just gonna set up the stove and make some potatoes. From Gossamer Gear out of Austin, Texas. It's a pretty sweet bamboo spoon, something nominal grams for weight, which is absolutely awesome. And it kind of brought me into what I want to talk about today, was like my slow decline into ultralight backpacking, and I call it the decline because it is expensive and it is addictive, and there's always the press of how light can you go while being smart and being safe, and the spoon kind of is just another step into it. The there's nothing wrong with the plastic spoon that I had. It was light, but this is lighter, and that's kind of the deal. Just, I don't know, you end up trying to go lighter and lighter. But I started off like most people do in my pole tent. I think a REI quarter dome, 4 pounds. Had a 70-liter pack in the mindset that I better fill it with everything that I might need. I have all the space, so might as well utilize it. And that was fun. I had some great trips. Didn't know any better. Had some heavy trips, probably 30, 35 pounds, and enjoyed it nonetheless. And then I kind of got into the whole lightweight backpacking thing. And I'm not sure how I got into it. I don't really remember what the catalyst was, but found a website called Backpacking Light, and that pretty much changed my entire outlook on backpacking. So I went from having the pole tent to getting the Black Diamond Mega Mid, which is a pyramid style, which is probably my go-to solid favorite shelter to take now. It's a really big transition and stretch going from a walled-in tent with netting and a floor and having that safety net, if you will, to go into an open floored shelter. But I will not go back. It is the best. You don't have to worry about taking your shoes off. You don't have to worry about keeping it clean. When she gets in and she's wet, I don't have to worry about the floor of my tent getting damaged or wet. So from that aspect, I absolutely adore it. So I went from the safety of having 4 walls to a tarp, which is probably my go-to three-season shelter now, and it's just a 10x10 flat tarp. Multiple variety of ways you can set it up. Super light, it's less than a pound. I love it. It's a totally different experience. And also have a Cuban Fiber Z-Pack, which is what I find that I'm replacing a lot of my gear with now, is Cuban, going from Sil Nylon to Cuban Fiber. And it's great. I love it. Swapped out my pack to a 30-liter pack, give or take. Don't feel the need to fill it every time. Love that. All of my stuff, my sleeping bags went to quilts. My ground pads went lighter. And at the end of the day, it's still comfortable. I'm still comfortable every time I go into the woods, and I'm just doing it lighter, and I can go farther, and I can go farther faster. I got my own dehydrator, and I dehydrate my own food now. And it's yeah, it's just made for a more overall enjoyable experience, I think. And I still take all the things that I need. I'm still comfortable in the woods. I just have this little bit more minimalist approach to it, and I don't think that I would ever go back to having a pole tent. I don't think I would ever go back to a normal sleeping bag unless the conditions are really called for it. And yeah, if you thought about it and you haven't tried it out yet, I'd give it a shot. Try out with a pyramid, which I think is the most versatile style shelter you can get. It's great in the summer, it's great in the winter. It's a great snow camping tent. Quilts, I keep pushing those on people anytime anybody ever asks for recommendations on sleeping bags, because they're versatile. You can get a 20 degree quilt and use it during the summer too, because if you get too hot, you just kind of throw it off you. If you get too cold, you pull it back on. And I have 2 quilts. I have a 20 degree quilt and a 0 degree quilt. Both of them are absolutely fantastic and light in equipment. It's just they make some great stuff. Looking into getting a good bivy sack this year, and a new backpack from probably I don't know yet, Z-Packs or what's the other company called that I like? Hyperlight Mountain Gear. One of their packs this year. Get a bivy sack, because I think we're talking about doing the ptarmigan trail, and I can't take the dog, so really the only reason I have shelters is so the dog can hang out with me. But if I don't have a shelter and the weather's going to be good, I think the bivy sack will be just fine. So because I love photography and I love taking it with me, and just documenting and being able to keep those memories for longer than just the trip and memories. But pretty much substituted all the gear weight that I used to take with camera weight now. So instead of packing a 30-pound pack, now I pack 2 GoPros and extra batteries and all the stuff I need for that. So there's, you know, a pound and a half. Pack in my Mavic depending on where I'm going, so there's another pound. I pack in my DSLR, which is 2 pounds. I lost my good bendy tripod, so right now when I take a tripod, I'm taking my heavy tripod, so there's at least, you know, 3 pounds plus an additional battery for that, 3.5 pounds. So I dropped all this gear weight, but I picked it up carrying, you know, 6 pounds of camera equipment every time I go out to be able to document and share, and I think it's kind of amusing. But I love carrying the camera with me. I used to be a very goal-oriented hiker, and I would just get in the trail and I would press and keep going, and the destination was always the key for me. It wasn't really about the journey, it was always the destination. But carrying the camera forced me to slow down and kind of look around me, because I try to get these good pictures, and I choose to take landscape photography. That's kind of what I enjoy the most, and yeah, it forced me to really slow down and enjoy the trip in as much as the destination. So I'm glad that I started carrying a camera with me now when I backpack, even though it is ridiculously heavy. So didn't get out as much this winter as I would have liked to have, but hopefully this year we'll be able to get out and get some weekend trips going, and maybe a few longer ones. Like I said, we're talking about doing the Ptarmigan Trail, maybe do the trail around the base of Mount Hood. So I don't know, we'll see. It should be a good year. I'm looking forward to it. This is kind of a bummer. Packed up and heading out. Kind of got to beat feet out of here too, because we're not super far back here, but it takes a little while to get to the truck from Hog Lake, and it gets dark in here about half an hour. But the lighting is just gorgeous right now, and it's probably going to do nothing but get better. So a little disappointed that we're going to miss it out here at the lake, but maybe when we get back up there, this old farmhouse, the light will be halfway decent. Back at the truck, missed the nice golden hour, and I'm not sticking around long enough for hopes of a good blue hour. You can see all the clouds behind me. I don't think we're gonna get it tonight, but what a great way to get over what was literally a solid case of cabin fever. Gonna load up and head home. Expecting a delivery tomorrow that I'm really excited for, so that'll be something I'll show you guys here in the future. And yeah, we'll catch you next week. Alright folks, just a friendly PSA from your very amateur host at this point. Know your equipment before you go out. I haven't used my little time-lapse movement thing in quite a while. I just set it up over here on that rock to take some motion time-lapse, and I set it up backwards. Instead of panning out away from me to the lake, it is panning towards me and now panning towards these rocks, so it's going to be a super awesome time-lapse that I'm probably not going to use.